We're here live. Doug Fisher, Shadow Boxing.
What's up, everybody? Yeah,
just
I
got
gotta
done.
get warm.
Just got done jumping rope for 5 minutes.
I'm gonna do another 15 minutes because that's how I roll. Hey, did you guys watch the UFC card? Tom, you watched those, right?
Yep.
Did you watch last
I
night?
didn't watch last night, but I was following the results.
So what happened?
Valentino won. Here's the highlights. Valentino won by knockout, and John Jones won by decision. And some people thought it was a controversial decision.
Really?
I asked JP, and he didn't bet either one of those. He went with Gary Russell Jr.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was a safe bet.
Lower
Gary
odds.
Russell Jr. beating King Tug.
I like King Tug, though.
I thought the Mongolian challenger acquitted himself well, but the thing about Gary is he only fights once a year, but he's never rusty.
Just too
So he
big of a
stays in the
step.
gym.
Too big of a step for
Yeah,
King Tug.
and I think he keeps his weight down between fights. I think he lives a clean life. And he's still in his athletic prime. He's like 31. But for a featherweight, I think once you get to like 32, 33, you do start to have that inevitable fade. So he needs to make something happen. He was talking about if he couldn't get a big fight at featherweight, he would leapfrog junior lightweight and go right to the 135-pound division.
Oh, you know what? I forgot. Bernie Barmasol is in town, and he might join us later on for
Join us, Double B.
for breakfast. Not at the track, but maybe for coffee.
Come on.
But we have someone that wrote in. S. Chalco said that he also thinks Reyes should have won. I guess the controversy was Reyes won rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah.
John Jones won rounds 4 and 5, and the third round was the one that could have gone either way.
I see.
And I think the
Is
judges
John
gave
Jones
it to
starting to
John.
fade? Because at one time he was like
Normally
pound
he
for
was
pound.
untouchable, yeah.
Yeah, he was like Roy Jones
Winning
Jr.
by
for
domination,
boxing
yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah, so I'm not that familiar with Reyes, but it sounds like it was a close fight, and that would lead to believe that John isn't as dominant as he was before. Dave watched the Showtime fights last night.
I did. I loved
Right?
them. The first fight, what were the names?
Jason Velez was the guy.
Jason
who lost
Velez,
the fight.
who Abel Sanchez.
The guy who won. I know
Abel
he's
Sanchez
from
used to train.
Panama,
Yeah,
and
Panama.
He's a
Panama.
prospect. Yeah.
He's really.
That was a good fight. I watched that fight. That was an exciting fight.
You know, that was a great fight.
That was an exciting
I
fight.
missed it.
Yeah.
You gotta watch that fight. That fight was.
And
great.
coach's fight of the night last night, right? That was
No, that fight.
It wasn't Rigondeaux? That wasn't the fight of the night?
Rigondeaux got booze
Was
again.
Guillermo Rigondeaux
He's-
the fighter of the night?
He's consistent.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all you boys and girls out there in Periscope land, do you appreciate Rigondeaux's boxing?
That's
Yes
a
or
good
no?
question. Are you a hater, or are you just are
not
you
about
able
hate.
are you able to appreciate
It's
his
about
style?
intelligence, according to Paulie Malignaggi. So I'm just saying, if you did not appreciate what he did last night, chances are you're a moron.
See, I like
Putting
Paulie.
it out there.
I like Paulie as a commentator. I don't necessarily agree with his take of Rigondeaux
No.
because as we all know in boxing,
Yeah.
you need to sell tickets.
Yeah.
You need to get ratings.
Okay.
And a lot of times that's more important than getting a world championship is
But-
if you can get the interest.
But beyond that, I mean, that aside, can you appreciate what he does?
And
You
for himself,
appreciate it.
too.
Well-
And not only that, you have to score rounds for him too.
Well-
It's not just enough to
No,
appreciate him because the judge who scored it for Liborio Solis, Malignaggi, basically called an idiot.
That's true.
Was
Oh
that
yeah,
guy
it
an
was.
idiot?
That's right. It was a split decision.
It was a split
That's
decision.
right. I forgot about that because that was when I took my break.
Yeah.
I took the break.
All right, Tom. You
Took the break
just
in-
exposed your IQ.
in between.
Down there.
No, it wasn't that I didn't appreciate it. I didn't watch it. So I took the break in
What does
between
that say?
Velez and Gary Russell.
Yeah.
So I can't really
Gary looked
comment.
good, though. I
I
thought
can't really
Gary looked
comment. I watched like the first 2 rounds and then I
Doug,
figured
did
it was
you
good time
watch,
for a break.
Tom's interview that he did?
No.
On the-
Where is it?
With Albert Baker. I have to retweet that.
Oh, yeah.
He put that out there.
You know, I saw Albert Baker in Indio. for
Albert's
Golden
very good.
Boys, Thursday
It
Night
was
Fights
really
card.
good.
Very talented.
Yeah.
And
You know
I-
what he's doing out there, right? In India? He's been
isn't
doing
he
a
filming
little...
behind the scenes training, right?
Right, but he's doing like a show that's just focusing on Roman Gonzalez's preparation.
With Chocolatito,
yeah.
Chocolatito, one of the alumni.
Was training with Marcos Caballero,
right.
Randy Caballero's dad,
right.
who's from Nicaragua,
right.
and he's out there in the Indio Coachella area, and he's training Chocolatito. And from what I heard, and we can all talk to Steve Kim, because I think he visited and he was putting stuff up on his Twitter account. The word on the curb is Chocolatito's looking pretty good.
Looking very good. No, Chocolatito is a big veteran of the Superfly shows and was always a huge compliment to the Triple G shows. We had at one point the two best pound for pound boxers,
number 1 and number 2,
on the same shows, and that's what the fans appreciated.
Big and little drama.
Because this interview that Baker did of Tom was really good.
Yeah,
and also
I got a lot of good feedback on it, but I need to post that.
I need to channel.
That and he put it on Twitter with the links and everything.
So let me ask you, Tom, how long can you talk
without without a question?
I mean, you didn't take a breath, and it was very interesting. And how long can you do?
I didn't need notes because that was my life, or that is my life. So that starting out with the sports memorabilia business, all the legendary retired athletes that we were working with, Muhammad Ali and Sandy Koufax and Joe Namath and. List goes on and on. That's how I got involved in the sports business.
So were you involved with Sandy Koufax personally?
Well, with the agency, sure. Yeah.
No,
Sandy came into the office a number of times. Sandy's a great guy.
Yeah.
Sandy, very nice.
And what did he do after baseball?
That's a good question.
Besides
because he really withdrew from the public.
What's he do?
Public eye.
Like for a living, what's he do? Or does he?
He was doing that. That's what we were doing. Is he would sign autographs.
Yeah. He is his own brand.
But he really
became that through licensing.
Yeah, he really went into the private life. Sandy.
Because he didn't make that much money playing baseball. Right. $125,000. Right. He held out.
He held out.
The manner in which he exited baseball, he had a mystique about himself.
No,
That's
he did.
What happens when you
wasn't it him and Don Drysdale were holding out together?
They held out together. He got 125, and Drysdale got 100,000.
100,000.
That's before agents were involved.
And did you see Sandy Koufax live at Dodger Stadium?
Absolutely.
Did you see him?
I saw his no-hitters.
You saw the no hitters? There you go.
Yeah. Wow.
And you saw Don Drysdale?
I was at the very first Dodger game in LA in 1958.
The first one at the stadium?
At the Coliseum.
Oh, at the Coliseum.
And the stadium was 62, and I was there too.
Yeah? So the first game at the Coliseum and the first game at Dodger Stadium.
It's not too shabby.
See that? Doug, did you know that?
I did know that.
The very first Dodger games.
I remember at the Coliseum like it was an hour ago, going up that escalator, and I went to watch a lot of baseball games. It was a great place to watch baseball.
So you went up the escalator?
Yeah.
Trump comes down the escalator.
Well, I don't know how I got down, but I know I went up. Okay.
Did you go to the first Laker game at the Forum?
I did not. But I did go to a lot of Laker games at the Sports Arena. And when they went to the Forum, I didn't like it.
That's right. They played at the Sports Arena first. Yeah. That's right.
But the first year they were here, they went to the playoffs, but they didn't have the Sports Arena tied up, so they couldn't play there. So they played at East LA JC. There were 1,000 people there. One of them was Tom Fammelton.
Those are good stories.
And they played the St. Louis Hawks, who were a big team.
Yeah.
They had. Do you remember the player?
St. Louis
Bob
Hawks?
Pettit.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember that team. So we got a couple more questions here. So we can't forget. Besides that Showtime card last night, our man Kell Brook fought last night in the UK.
On the Zone. Yeah, that was from Sheffield, right?
That was from Sheffield. I put out a tweet that he had bigger balls than.
I like how you did that. You had soccer balls.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
appropriate for the UK fans.
You're right. Footballers out there.
Yeah, for the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he definitely, after a couple of the top middleweights from the UK, turned down a fight where Triple G, unlike a lot of American stars that don't need to travel and don't want to travel, Triple G was willing to go to the UK to fight those stars, especially to try to get that WBO title that was elusive to him. And it got turned down on that one, got turned down on another one, and then Kell Brook.
2016, frustrating year
for
Triple G.
Kell Brook, who was the number one welterweight at the time after beating Sean Porter, took the challenge because he was having problems. Eddie was having problems making the fight with think it was Vargas at the time with Top Rank. He was having problems with that fight. He couldn't deliver the other fight that he was negotiating for Triple G, and so they actually wound up fighting each other.
So you know who the favorite was in the Sean Porter-Kell Brook fight?
Sean Porter?
Big
time favorite. I was at that fight.
I understood that because it was happening on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
And it had the look of a distance fight.
And it was still not that.
BBC is very powerful.
It was pretty close.
I was actually
I thought Brook won it, but I thought it was a close fight.
That's funny because that ties into one of the another question from the viewers here, is that I was at that fight. That was at the StubHub Center at the time, and so someone was asking when we're going to do another fight at StubHub. I'll tell you, my favorite show at the StubHub, which I think was one of their favorite shows, was when Triple G fought his first fight here on the West Coast against Rubio, and we broke the capacity record.
Yeah, it was overflowing.
We had the first time.
You built bleachers.
First touchers for a boxing event.
That was crazy.
Hey, speaking of Triple G,
I just switched the camera, so I'm on camera. Let's see here. I got to figure out how to switch this back. You're back on camera. So
do you think there's a chance that Triple G might fight Eubank?
Chris Eubank Jr. Sure. Yeah. I mean, we talked about that.
Fight.
We've talked about that fight for a long time. That was the fight that Eddie was trying to.
building up Jamal Charlo and Chris Eubank.
That could
Jr.
be. But I mean, to answer Dave's question, there's no reason why that fight shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would be. We talked about that fight for a long time. Eubank is a marketable guy.
Yeah.
And that could be interesting. Could be an interesting
So,
fight.
are you going to watch the Academy Awards tonight?
I will not be watching the Academy.
The Oscars, yeah, that's right. The Oscars are tonight. You got another question for you. Did Coach ever go to Los Angeles Wrigley Field?
Absolutely. In fact,
Great
I
boxing
saw.
there.
That's where I saw Sugar Ray Robinson fight live.
That was.
Okay, how many viewers?
Wilson.
How many people?
Yeah. And I also saw.
I think that was their fourth time fighting.
Floyd I saw a heavyweight title fight. The guy was Roy Harris from Cut and Shoot, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Who did he fight?
I don't know. Was it Eddie Machin?
No, it was for the heavyweight championship.
Oh, for the title. Was it Floyd Patterson?
It was probably Floyd Patterson.
Yeah, it's probably Patterson. Yeah.
So how many viewers can say they saw Sugar Ray Robinson live? Maybe 1%.
Very few. If
Maybe
Bill
less than
Kaplan is
1%.
watching his Periscope, he can say it.
He
Yeah.
was involved in that.
Yeah.
Bill was working publicity for that show.
I'm pretty sure he was. So
Larry Merchant can say that he.
Does
saw
anyone know
Sugar
where
Ray.
that was located?
That was my next question going to be. Where was the Los Angeles
42nd
Wrigley
and
Field?
Avalon in South Central.
42nd and Avalon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to a few fights there. They had fight. That's where Ike Williams fought Enrique Bolanos 3 times.
Yeah.
Ike Williams.
Those were popular fights because Bolanos was popular.
Oh,
and he
huge.
could fight his ass off.
Huge.
Yeah.
You know the name Ike Williams?
Ike Williams, sure.
Yeah. So he was. So Ike Williams. Who did Ike Williams lose the title to?
That's beyond my pay grade. That would be a
Same name
Doug.
as a U.S. president.
That's a Doug.
Yeah, Doug
That's
is
Jimmy
Doug.
Carter.
Jimmy Carter. Wow.
One of those
That's right.
forgotten
And
fighters.
did they have the same manager?
They had the same manager, and they had. I think they had they were close to the same birthday and death day.
No, exactly. They were a week apart in both their birthdays and their death days.
That's interesting.
And they were both really good. I mean,
Yeah.
they were good. And Jimmy Carter would lose fights on purpose, and then come back like Laurel Salas.
Yeah.
You know, he would
Come
lose
back and
these
win.
fights just to have a rematch, just to
Rematch.
make money.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we have one viewer, Fat Sinatra 1,
What's up, Fat Sinatra?
says that he was at the Rubio show, the Triple G Rubio show, and he remembers. Do you remember what the co-feature was on that?
Yeah, Nonito Donaire
Nonito
versus
Donaire.
the Axeman.
The
Nicholas
Axeman.
Walters.
That's right.
And I knew Walters was going to get him because I saw you guys had a media workout in Santa Monica on Wednesday, and I'm looking at Walters and I'm like, dude's a welterweight.
Yeah, he was big.
Looking at him
He was
like
big. And Nonito.
I would imagine Walters struggled to make 140. Somehow he made 126.
And Nonito was fighting way above his weight, which we now know when he was fighting at 126, and Walters was towering over him at 126. And those were the type of shows that we put on with Triple G and that undercard. And that wasn't pay-per-view. That was a regular HBO show, and definitely helped. I know Nonito sold a lot of tickets
about the
as
Kell
well
Brook
with the
Triple G
Filipino
fight.
fans.
That was a simulcast. So HBO
right.
went with Golovkin
And Kell
Brook from
Brook,
the O2 Arena in London, and then later that night, it
Remember,
was
Chocolatito
Chocolatito
headlined.
fighting for his 4th world title
Yep.
in a 4th weight class against an unbeaten fighter, either number 1 or number 2 at Superfly, Carlos Cuadras.
Yep, that's
and
right.
It was a tremendous 12-round fight.
Wow.
That was at the Forum. It was a good doubleheader.
Yeah, and Chocolatito that was a good fight too. Yep.
You ready for a few questions?
Yeah. We were going to
Cuadras actually sold. Cuadras sold a lot of tickets.
Cuadras has
back then.
personality.
Yeah,
he just has to get his life together.
Yeah.
I'm hearing Eddie Hearn's trying to make Juan Francisco Estrada
and
Cuadras
Cuadras.
too.
Yeah, that's what
Good fight.
they were talking
18 without draining himself at this point.
All right, so Dave has some questions.
Okay. So this is about Cuban boxers.
All right. Yes, in honor.
Yeah.
See, you
In honor of
appreciate
Rigondeaux.
Rigondeaux.
See,
You
Dave
know,
has a
The
very
revolution.
He has a
the
very-
revolution will not be televised, but it will be on Periscope, my
it
friend.
will be appreciated by
Rigo.
Hi.
Woo, ay, 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 ay.
high IQ guys like Dave Schwartz who can appreciate.
It's
Rigo's
the
talent.
revolution, man. Guillermo Rigondeaux.
I do like him, but after the first
great.
round last
And-
night, you didn't think the fight's going like that.
No.
That's right.
Now, somebody from the mailbag asked me, he said, I think Rigondeaux takes out Solis in 4 rounds. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's Rigondeaux. He's 39 years old,
Yep.
and he's never going to go for a knockout.
The lovely
And Solis is a tough guy.
Yeah.
So I said, if there's a knockout, it's going to be late in the
Solis
fight.
proved his mettle.
Or I said,
for sure.
and I said, it wouldn't surprise me if Solis goes 12. And part of that is because Solis, he's 37. He's no spring chicken, but he's a tough cat. I think he's Venezuelan, and Rigondeaux, he's very comfortable getting decisions. I mean, he's an amateur. He's an amateur standout. That was his whole thing. He was really a professional when he was in the amateur. So when we talk about Rigondeaux's prime, it's really from like 2000 to 2004 when he was winning those back-to-back gold medals. That was really him at his best.
The lovely
So we never seen him at his best.
Cynthia
Hey,
Conte signed
what's up,
on. She says, "Good morning, boys."
Why aren't
morning.
you here, Cynthia?
One of these days, we're gonna get Cynthia out when we do a late edition.
Yeah, she just woke up. That's why.
Come on, Cynthia.
Okay, so who would you say is the most famous fighter or best fighter from Cuba?
The most famous, I think.
Going way
Is it
as far
Teofimo?
back as you want.
Is it?
Yeah, I'll go with the original
Yeah,
Kid
you got
Chocolate.
it. Okay,
He was
tell me his-
immensely popular.
Tell me his nickname.
Original
Kid Chocolate is the nickname.
Chocolate.
Yeah, but tell me his name.
His real name?
His real name.
No.
Something
Yeah.
Santiago. Sarmiento.
His
or something.
nickname.
I thought that was his
It
nickname.
is, but he
Kid
has a
Chocolate.
nickname.
The real Kid Chocolate.
But Kid Chocolate's his alias.
Pure
Then he
chocolate.
Then he has a nickname off the alias.
Why? I don't know.
Cuban Bonbon.
Oh, the Cuban Bonbon. Yeah, I
the
did
Cuban
know that.
Bonbon.
Yeah.
See, that's how
That's
deep.
a weird nickname.
That's how
yeah.
deep Dave's boxing
Hey,
IQ
but
goes.
Kid Chocolate was amazing, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I think he had like, I don't know, 110 wins.
What about
Or
Stevenson?
maybe he had over 100 victories, and he only had like 10 losses. And his losses were all to great fighters, often over the weight.
So
Yeah.
when who did he fight in 1930? His record, he was 55 wins and 55-0,
Yeah.
and he lost a 10 round. He lost.
His first loss?
Decision. Yeah.
When was his first loss, Doug? Who was it to? Dave just gave you the year, 1930.
Was it Battalino?
No, but it was.
Was
A
it Fidel
I'll
Barba?
tell you, Kid something.
It was another kid. Oh, was it
Kid Gavilan?
No, he was Jewish
Yeah,
from
exactly.
London,
Yeah.
Whitechapel.
Yeah, you got it.
White chocolate?
You got, no, you
No,
got it.
there's
I'll give you his first name, and you'll
what's his
get
first
it.
name?
Jack.
Kid Berg.
You got it.
Is that battling?
Jackie Berg.
Battling Jack Kid Bird?
Kid
Hey,
Berg.
Now,
man.
who else in the world would know that shit?
There's a few guys, but
No.
most don't
Not
give
many.
a rat's ass.
Not
Yeah.
many.
From
But then they've never heard of Jack Kid Berg or Kid Chocolate. But then they want to give you their top 10 all time.
Okay, my battery's getting low here,
Uh-oh.
Dave. You got to read the questions fast.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me tell you some other famous Cubans. These are my
And then
book.
Stevenson, right?
There's Kid Gavilan.
Okay, what's his nickname?
Gavilan.
Or Cuban Hawk.
You got it.
Yeah. There was Jose Napoles.
Right.
Yeah.
And his was Mantequilla.
Right.
We all
Who
know
did
that.
he lose
He was
the
adopted by
Who did he
Mexico.
lose the title to?
He lost
Jose
the title to
Napoles.
Billy Backus first, and then he lost it to a British dude.
Well, yeah. We
what's
just
the
talked
kid's
about
name? Yeah. The guy who Carlos Palomino beat.
Yeah.
I'm spacing out on his name now.
You know who he is.
He's a good fighter.
Real good.
I can't remember.
John Stracy.
John Stracy.
John Stracy. Yeah, John Stracy.
Yeah.
He goes to a lot of those boxing conventions.
But
Yeah.
the Billy Backus was on a cut.
Yeah.
And
He
then
suffered from cuts a lot.
And then
Right.
LC Morgan has a victory
Okay,
over
we need
him in
to.
Mexico. It was on cuts.
What's your? You got to pick your top questions
okay,
now,
what's
Coach.
Luis Rodriguez, yeah, he is.
What's his?
He had El Gato and El Feo,
Yeah, and
which
what's
means
El
the ugly
Feo
one.
mean?
The ugly one.
You
He
got
had a
it.
big nose.
And do you know?
Okay.
Do you know who?
And he was a Dundee guy,
Do you
trained
know
in
that he fought-
Miami, Fifth Street. He was like this,
fought,
bouncing.
Luis Rodriguez fought Dub Huntley.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah, Doug.
Doug
yeah, in
Huntley.
Miami.
And what's Dub's real first name?
Is it Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug.
Great guy. Great
Yeah.
guy.
He was the story behind $1 Million Baby,
Yeah,
right?
and the Morgan Freeman character is based on,
Right.
on Dub.
Right.
And Dub gave Rodriguez a tough fight.
There's a question.
Because it was at middleweight.
This might be a
Rodriguez fought
question for
middleweights
you,
all the time.
Doug,
Yeah. What's
because I don't have the answer to it.
up? Okay.
Any chance of Triple G versus Canelo in the future? I think that's a Canelo.
Yeah, I think there's a chance in
That's a
September.
Canelo question.
Yeah, but it'll take a lot of pressure. I think the fans really have to demand it because Canelo, I don't think Canelo's going to listen to DAZN or Golden Boy. I think he's like, you know
I think
what?
he's proven.
I'm the boss. Yeah,
he's
right?
proven that last September. He
He's
did
like,
that.
I got a drum and I
Yeah.
travel
He's
to
gonna
my
beat-
own beat.
he's gonna beat his own drum.
Canelo's got that fight penciled in for 2025.
25.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So it'll be like so Triple G Canelo 3 will be like Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr. 2.
There you
It's
go.
like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But we'll all show up. We'll all be there.
Okay.
All right, last question, Dave. Pick your best one. We're about to
Hit me with
run
your
out.
last shot.
Just give you some other. I mean, how about Florentino Fernandez?
Oh, great
Florentino.
puncher. Yeah, he was a middleweight.
And what's
Yeah.
his nickname?
I don't know.
You know
Boy,
it.
No, I don't know. I know who he is. I know he
Florentino? Was
was a
it
big puncher.
He was
Didn't he
on
fight?
TV a lot. He fought everyone.
Yeah, he did. He fought everyone.
Florentino Gardens?
He was known for his power. He was a
I
strong
think he
guy.
owns the Florentine Garden.
Who
What
was?
is it? What is
The
what
Ox.
is-
I
The
have a
Ox.
question
Makes
for
Makes
you.
sense. Yeah, he fought like that.
I have a question for
He
you
was
guys.
tough as an
Who
ox.
was the Cuban boxer that the MGM signed to an exclusive contract?
Oh, the
yeah.
giant Gonzalez, Jorge Gonzalez.
Jorge Luis Gonzalez.
Jorge Luis Gonzalez. He had that
Right.
funky haircut. He's bald and he
Yeah.
had the stuff in the back.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Riddick Bowe jabbed the crap
And,
out
Yeah,
of
we'll
him.
get into-
and
we have to
somehow he
go-
didn't live up to his expectations.
Nah, but he beat everybody in the amateurs.
We're
And he
gonna
was a
All right.
big
we're
dude.
gonna get
All right,
into.
we're gonna
more
sign
Cuban
off.
Fighters. I just want to know this is a new jacket.
Brand new jacket.
Like
yeah.
it? Adidas?
Look at that.
We
Dave's
gotta hook you up
upgrading.
with the Adidas boxing line.
Dave's
Yeah.
upgrading, and it matches the Nautica hat
It does.
colors
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
from
You're styling.
this from Costco online.
And
It is. It's-
I like it.
Anyway,
I gotta
one-
get me a 360 hoodie though, like
I
Tom
get one of
has.
those, and you got the Mano a Mano,
Yeah.
DAZN, Golden Boy,
You're looking good,
the
Doug.
manga.
and you got the. Oh, look at that! Which one?
Yeah,
Which one
that's
is this?
Hajime no Ippo.
Wow.
Okay.
Longs like a 30-year-old boxing soap opera.
Nice.
Chronicled in
everyone,
manga.
everyone's
Okay.
got to
Anime.
watch this video of Tom. It's Baker.
Albert Baker.
Yeah, Albert Baker.
Yeah.
What's the name of his YouTube channel?
I'll tweet out the
under
a
the
link.
wraps? Under
Yeah,
the
under
hand
under
wraps?
the hand
It's
wraps.
very
That's
good.
right. Yeah, UTH.
You could be an actor, Tom.
W.
And Baker, Albert does a
Albert
great
Baker,
job.
yeah.
Like his production
Yeah,
value,
very
he has
good.
very high
Very good.
standards.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
he doesn't
The
mess
video.
around.
And Lena Baker does great
Lena-
photos.
She does. Yeah.
Terrific photos.
One of them was
She got
featured
him
on
on.
the cover,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Anyway, I
you
want
picked it for the
guys
cover.
To,
Yeah.
be real happy this week.
All right.
Drive
Valentine's.
carefully. You got
week. Valentine's Day week.
Yep.
you got to really concentrate on driving carefully. It's so crazy.
You
Just
want to
takes
make
1
it.
second.
You want to survive, so you can. On Friday, you can go to Anaheim in Orange County
Yeah.
and watch King Ryan Garcia
Yeah.
take on.
Oh, that's coming up. That's right. Valentine's Day.
Fonseca. Yes, that's the main
It's
event.
Friday. That's
Blair
this
the Flair
week.
Cobbs is on it. Jorge Linares, the great Jorge Linares, is in the
wow.
co-feature.
I think that's going to be a hot ticket. My friend,
so.
my friend who's a boxing fan, but he just bought 7 tickets to that show.
Yeah, so that's at the
So,
Honda Center.
yeah.
Everybody in Anaheim.
This Friday night.
It's Friday night. If
Take
you
your
can't be
girl
there, you
out
can
for
watch it on
Valentine's
DAZN.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on
There
your
you go.
Valentine's Day date, if your date is boring you, if you don't like your restaurant, just get your
There you go.
out.
Get the stream.
Yeah.
Stream going on
Get
the
that
zone.
DAZN app and
All right.
enjoy.
We're going to sign off.
Okay. Adios.
Later,
We'll see
everybody.
you, everyone.
Adios. See you.
Signing off from the Santa Monica track.